who live the gig life. By Lone Butte Casino, you're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Jack in the Box. For a limited time, try the new Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack with melted garlic herb butter. Set for baseball here in the nation's capital. It never did rain here. They never even had the tarp on the field, but there was some weather in the area. A half-hour delay to start is over. The weather has moved on, whatever it was, and we are set to go. The Diamondbacks and the Nationals. Your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for Washington. It's Max Scherzer, just turned 31 years old last Monday, his first season in D.C. after getting a 7-year, $210 million free agent deal this winter. His pitching coach is Steve McCatty.
The thing that I've noticed since he's been here is how prepared he is for what he does. He goes over the hitters and just, it's a lot of guys are really talented, just go over there and say, okay, let's go over the hitters briefly. But he really knows what he wants to do, and he has a real good game plan every time he's going out there. So that's the one thing that impressed me is how prepared he is.
The numbers on Max Scherzer, that 2.22 ERA is third best in the National League. Very few base runners allowed. You see the whip. That's second best in the National League, behind only Zach Greinke. And Clayton Kershaw is the only NL pitcher with more strikeouts. This guy is pretty good.
Yeah, he's really good. He had back-to-back starts earlier this season against the Brewers and the Pirates when he went a total of 18 innings and gave up 1 hit. The second game against the Pirates, of course, was the no-hitter. But when this guy is on top of his game, his command is impeccable. He's got good weapons, a good fastball, good slider, good changeup. We'll mix in an occasional curve. And he competes.
Ender Inciarte leads it off for the Diamondbacks. 289 and 3 home runs. Mark Carlson is our plate umpire tonight. Trying to bunt for a base hit, and Ender is going to beat this one out. A bunt single to lead off the ball game for Ender Inciarte. Diamondbacks applying the pressure right out of the gate here.
I love that. Good start to the ball game here. Deadened that ball on the third base side, taking Escobar completely out of the play. Scherzer the only guy that had a chance right there. And by the time he picks it up, Ender is across the bag with the first hit of the game.
Leadoff man aboard for A.J. Pollock. A long set and the step off by Scherzer. Ender 10 for 16 in his stolen base attempts down there. And A.J. Pollock at 305 with 11 home runs.
Scherzer does a pretty good job of slowing down the opposition's running game. He doesn't have a great pickoff move to first, but what he will do is show you a really bad one, try to encourage you to take an extra step or two on your lead, and then show you his good move. But more importantly, he just varies his timing to home plate. Very tough to get a jump against him.
A long set by Scherzer, and the pitch misses. It's even 1-1. A.J. last night 1 for 3, a single and an RBI. And apparently no residual effects from his first game back after sitting out a couple of games in Houston with that problem behind his knee. Inciarte holds. A.J. lifts this in the air to center field. Taylor backing up. Still backing up all the way to the wall. And he's got it for out number 1.
I will say it again in case you weren't with us last night. When the weather heats up here in the nation's capital, the ball really seems to jump to straightaway center and right center field. If Nationals batting practice today was any indication, it is really flying out of here.
And Bryce Harper, something he hasn't done for months now, took batting practice on the field before the ball game today. And it was a show.
It really was. I mean, where he was hitting home run balls in batting practice, there aren't even fans sitting in those seats in the back of the upper deck.
Paul Goldschmidt. He cut that one down 0-1, a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Goldie leading the National League in both hits and batting average. He's in there at 339. He's 9 points ahead of Harper for the NL batting title. Goldie hitless last night. That's 3 straight games without a base hit for Goldie. One of those last 3 games is 0 for 11 with 5 strikeouts.
You know, I mentioned Scherzer varying his rhythm to home plate to hold those runners over there at first base. It also messes with the batter's timing.
I would think.
You know, you're standing there waiting and waiting and waiting, and you're thinking to yourself, I should probably call timeout. And about the time you start thinking that way, he delivers a pitch to home plate.
Another long set here. Goldie lays off a close one, 1-2. 96 from Scherzer, who throws as hard as anybody out there. Max Scherzer has been a workhorse for Washington. He's leading the National League in innings pitched this year. Already with 3 complete games and a pair of shutouts. He's ahead of Goldie 1-2. A lineup for Chip Hale's Diamondbacks tonight.
Ender Inciarte found his way on with that bunt single. He'll be out in right field. A.J. Pollock in center field. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. David Peralta will be out in left. Jake Lamb at third. Jared Saltalamacchi with good numbers against Scherzer in the lineup tonight behind the plate. Chris Owings at second. Nick Ahmed at short. And Patrick Corbin, the lefty, on the mound.
He strikes out Goldie. 2 down. Oh, we talked last night about the matchup of MVP candidates, the top 2 in the National League in Paul Goldschmidt and Bryce Harper. And tonight we're talking pitching. Scherzer versus Corbin. So far, that's the first strikeout for Max Scherzer. David Peralta, 284 in 10 home runs. A pair of hits for David last night, including his 10th homer. He took Doug Fister deep to center field. Is this up in the air to short left? Jason Worth is out there near the line. And he's got it. So they strand the leadoff single just underway after a half-hour delay in D.C. Patrick Corbin coming up. start in his return from Tommy John surgery, coming off a win over the Mariners last Wednesday at Seattle. Here, Arizona Ford scouting report from manager Chip Hill.
He's pitching against all the number ones, and he's been very competitive and done a nice job for us. And he is really, become our number one guy, and he takes that very seriously. He's going to be capped at 95 pitches at the most. Is that going to be 6 innings? Is it 5 and something? Is it 7? We have to see, but we're very careful, like we are with Godley, to watch the velocity and make sure it stays the same throughout his outing. If it doesn't, we need to get him out.
Well, he's looked very much like the all-star pitcher he was 2 years ago. Patrick has allowed 2 runs or fewer in 4 of his 5 starts so far.
And you heard Chip say they'll monitor his velocity. I think that's really the most useful purpose for the radar gun, is when you have a guy coming back from an injury, to monitor the velocity of his pitches to see if maybe he's losing a little bit toward the end. And they'll keep a close eye on Patrick again tonight.
Yunel Escobar, 312 and 6 home runs, leads it off. Patrick says the elbow feels really good. He said usually after starts there are other parts of his body that are a little sore. Flies to center, deep to center. Inciarte, or Pollock, pardon me, runs out of room, and it's a leadoff homer for Yunel Escobar, his 7th. And very quickly 1-0 Washington.
It's odd how the conditions at a particular ballpark will change how you feel about a ball hit in the air. Normally a ball hit to center field, you just go ahead and write F8. That's a fly ball to center, no worries. But as I mentioned in the top half of the inning, the ball really carries well to center field here, and Escobar blasts one to straight away over that 402 mark out there where they parked the dumpster.
You were talking about that last night, Bob, how it carries to center and right center here. So Corbin very quickly, the home run bug got him at the Mets when he gave up 3 just before the All-Star break. Down 1-0. Here's Anthony Rendon. And the Nationals, remember, had 4 runs in that 9th inning last night. Already 1 in the first and 2 base hits. Rendon's aboard. The lineup for Matt Williams, Washington Nationals tonight.
We've seen Escobar at the top. He'll be playing third base once again. Anthony Rendon with that single up the middle will be at second base. Bryce Harper making his way to the plate once again out in right field, with Ryan Zimmerman at first, Jason Worth in left, Ian Desmond at shortstop, Wilson Ramos doing the catching, Michael A. Taylor out in center field, and Max Scherzer, the righty, on the mound.
Bryce Harper, a big cut at that one, 0-1. As we mentioned, Harper taking batting practice on the field, something he doesn't normally do. He did that today, and he was launching some balls way out of here in this ballpark. In fact, he hit a few up in right field, the right field corner, in that top deck. 330 and 29 home runs, leads the league. I mean, this is where Harper was hitting them during batting practice today.
Up above the Jackie Robinson sign on the facing of the upper deck, he was hitting him halfway up that section in the upper deck.
Hit a few that came just shy of that scoreboard in center. Leads the league in OPS. The homers and RBIs already career highs.
And when we asked his manager, Matt Williams, why doesn't he take batting practice on the field? That's exactly what he said, because after the first couple rounds, it just turns into home run derby. He tries to see how far he can hit it. Well, if that's what he was doing today, he might have set a few records for this ballpark.
Yeah, you just have to stop what you're doing and watch. It's something else. There's a strike, 2-2. Harper last night a single. He was 1 for 4. And he's hit safely in 11 of his last 12 games. That's in the seats. Bryce Harper, by the way, hits lefties, batting .320 versus left-hand pitching this year. But only 5 of those 29 homers have come off left-handers. Mentioned that Patrick Corbin says the elbow feels fine. It's other parts that are a little sore. And Bob, I guess that's filed under the heading of you have to get everything else into shape too, legs and back and torso and whatnot, not just the elbow and the arm.
Yeah, that's the thing you see a lot of times with a pitcher coming back from an injury. They spend so much time rehabbing the injured arm that the arm comes back way before your lower back and your legs and all the other things you need to pitch effectively.
We have seen Patrick occasionally in this Tommy John comeback get fatigued a little bit or look like he was fighting some fatigue 4th, 5th, 6th inning or so. Outstanding his last 2 starts. That 10 strikeout game against Milwaukee. And then a win over the Mariners in Seattle. He beat Felix Hernandez. 2-2 on Bryce Harper. Rendon the runner at first. Base hit. Rendon will take the turn and head for third. Harper hustling into second. He'll challenge that arm, and Ender overthrows the bag. A hustle double for Harper. And Patrick Corbin so far, 3 batters, 3 hits.
After making a great defensive play in right field last night, I think this is a mistake on the part of Ender Inciarte. I think he just assumed that Bryce Harper wasn't going to try to go for 2 on his arm. Got to the ball in pretty good shape, but stood straight up, looked at the runner, realized Harper was going for second base, and only then did he wind up and make that throw to second offline.
So the leadoff homer by Escobar, the single by Rendon, now the double by Harper. Another look.
He had trouble with the grip as well. There mails it over everybody.
Second and third, still no outs. Here's Ryan Zimmerman. Zimmerman 211 and 7 home runs. He got number 7 in the 9th inning last night. He also walked and struck out twice. Out to left, a base hit in front of Peralta. Rendon will score. Harper stops at third, and it's 2-0 Nationals. 4 straight hits to open up the ball game against Patrick Corbin.
Up and out over the plate to Zimmerman. He ropes it into left field. Hits so hard that they couldn't risk sending Bryce Harper from second base on home, but Rendon will walk home with the second run of the game.
Mike Harkey.
I don't know if I've ever seen a ball game where 3 batters in, the Nationals were a triple away from the cycle.
But they are right now. Homer single, double single. Here's Jason Worth back in the starting lineup tonight at 203 and 2 homers. He's been healthy enough to play in only 34 games all year. Harper at third and Zimmerman the runner at first.
We talked about the Nationals last night starting to get some of their pieces back together. Jason Worth, one of them. Denard Span, they're anticipating that he'll go out on a rehab assignment sometime in the very near future and hopefully be back in Matt Williams' lineup sometime in the middle of the month.
Yeah, Worth just activated from the DL last Tuesday. He's gone 4 for 22 cents. A slow roller to Goldie. Trying to turn 2 here. Harper's going to sneak in, and Worth head first slide beats the throw, and it's 3-0 Washington.
Goldie could have easily gone home with that ball, but he thought it was a chance to turn 2 that time. Just a little bit too much time at second base by Nick Ahmed. Work with the unnecessary head first slide. That's a good way to go right back on the DL, Jason. But he beats that relay throw to first.
Yeah, he was on May 15th hit by a pitch, suffered a couple of small fractures and a bad bruise on his left wrist. He missed almost 3 months. Ian Desmond. Desmond 217 and 11 home runs. Desmond last night 1 for 4, a single and a strikeout. He's 3rd in the league in strikeouts. But the bat has been a little more active lately.
Well, for Patrick Corbin, he's throwing strikes, unfortunately catching the big part of the plate right now. Everything is over the fat white part of the plate, and the Nats are just teeing him up here in the early going. You'd like to think you can go out there to the mound for the first inning and kind of settle in a little bit, establish that you can throw strikes, and then start to go for the corners, but the Nats did not allow him that luxury tonight.
He's ahead of Desmond 1-2. Now, we said there is the general consensus here that this is the Nationals' biggest game of the year to this point. They need this one. They have fallen out of the National League East lead and out of the postseason race altogether right now. Just back in the wild card standings. 3-2 on Desmond now. Wilson Ramos is on deck.
The Nationals featuring that tsunami offense. As we get a look at the National League East standings, and that's a game behind the Mets going into play tonight. Think back to last night. Daniel Hudson came in the game, gave up 4 runs on 5 hits over the course of 8 pitches. And here in the first inning, Nationals score 3 runs on 17 pitches.
Desmond strikes out. 2 down for Corbin. Here's Ramos. Wilson Ramos. An RBI single last night that snapped an 0 for 17. He's 235 with 9 home runs. And an on-base percentage of .260, helping account for that low OPS. There's a strike on 1. Ramos has really slumped lately. Badly. 6 for his last 59 at the plate.
And according to people close to the Nationals, they say his defense has gone in the tank right along with his bat.
And he's always been a kind of a hit first guy. Has had a very good bat over the course of his career. He's just 27 years old. He's got a long track record of injuries, but he's been healthy this year. Ironically, not hitting. This one coming right at the camera.
Look out. Oh my. None the worse for wear.
Dan hiding behind the camera, which is always smart. I bet Patrick Corbin feels a little bit like that right now. Thumbs up. Nice job,
Dan.
How did the ball even find him? He's back there behind fences and gates and padded posts. 0-2 on Ramos. You buy that, Bob, the idea that this is their biggest game of the year so far, the Nationals?
It's the biggest game tonight. I mean, you know, we get all carried up. I think once again, that's another one of those things that's more media created. It gives you something to talk about. You look at the standings. Oh my gosh, the Mets are in first. What happened to the Nationals? Oh, the Nationals. We've got a third of the season left to go. And think of all the ebbs and flows we've had in the first 2/3 of this year. A lot can happen between now and the end of the season. And as I mentioned last night, I think the Nats are in pretty good shape. They're getting everybody back healthy. They're a playoff team in my eyes, and I think they're really going to hit their stride in that last month of the season.
They have lost 4 straight, 7 of their last 10. Corbin tries to come inside and misses. It's full 3-2. So Jason Worth down there at first will be off of the pitch. Goldie will play behind the runner.
Hard count of 95 in Patrick Corbin's pitch count tonight. He's going to throw his 30th pitch of the first inning right here.
And when you're on a hard cap, as we heard from Chip Hale a moment ago, of 95 at the absolute most, a 30 pitch first is not what they had in mind.
I'll tell you who else is paying close attention to that pitch count. When you know your starter's on a pitch count, those guys in the bullpen pay close attention too. They may have an early evening down there tonight.
Ball 4. Now that first inning gets longer here. A walk to Ramos. 2 on and 2 out for Michael Taylor. He had Ramos, who we mentioned is slumping badly in an 0-2 count, and he lost him. So here's Taylor now, the number 8 hitter. Worth at second and Ramos at first. Josh Comenter throwing in the Diamondback bullpen. Josh had to go into emergency duty the other night after Jeremy Hellickson lasted 3 1/3 in Houston. All 1 to Taylor, who's at 241 and 9 home runs. That was Saturday at Minute Maid Park, where Josh had to come in for Jeremy Hellickson, and Comenter on Saturday threw 76 pitches. 1-1. Taylor, a pair of hits last night, a double and 2 RBIs. He's homered 3 times in his last 9 games. '94 right by him, 1-2.
Ball velocity has been good here in the early going, consistently between 91 and 94. A little extra giddy up on that one up in the zone.
On the ground is short. Ahmed, the backhander. He's got no play. The bases are loaded. He saved a run by preventing that from rolling into left. But the inning continues. Bases full, 2 down for Max Scherzer. The 9th man to come to the plate in the first against Patrick Corbin.
Nice play just to get to that ball and keep it on the infield, but because Jake Lamb had gone a couple steps to his left, there was nobody there to cover third base, and with Michael Taylor's speed, they were not going to get him at first, so all Nick could do was hang on to that ball.
A 35 pitch first inning and counting. Bases full, 2 down for Scherzer. A roller to first. Goldie there. Corbin covers, and they leave him loaded. But a long first for Patrick Corbin results in 3 Washington runs, and after one, they lead it 3-zip.
Nothing lead against the Diamondbacks. We head to the top half of the second inning. Spotting Max Scherzer to runs is never a good deal for the opposing team. When you give him 2 or more runs of support, the team is 11-2. No or 1 run of support, the team is 1-7. He doesn't need a whole lot of offense behind him.
And Scherzer in many ways has been better than ever this year. He's striking out more than 10 batters per 9 innings pitched. 4th straight year he's done that, but this season he's actually walking fewer batters than ever before. He's got the best strikeout to walk ratio in the major leagues. There it is, number 1. So the Diamondbacks have a mountain to climb here, and Jake Lamb will lead off the second.
That's amazing. 9 strikeouts for every walk. Usually 2-1, 3-1 is considered to be a pretty good ratio. 9-1?
He literally keeps getting better as his career goes. Lamb 284 and 4 homers. And he's down 0-2. Jake had a pair of hits last night, including his 4th home run this year. That opposite field shot off Jonathan Papelbon in the 9th inning last night.
The nice thing about this Jake Lamb homer last night came to the opposite field. Mentioned the one he hit down in Houston was a blast to right, but this one out in that Diamondbacks bullpen in left field.
His 2nd homer in 4 games. That's a fair ball. Zimmerman has it. 1 away. Jared Saltalamacchia doing the catching tonight for the Diamondbacks. Salty at 160 and a pair of home runs. He faced Papelbon in that 9th inning last night and struck out as a pinch hitter.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
1-1. Pretty good numbers career against Max Scherzer.
Not many guys can say that.
Lifts this in the air to left center field. Jason Worth 5 in a row set down by Scherzer since the Inciarte bunt single to lead it off. 2 outs now, and Chris Owings back in the lineup tonight after all the work CO did with the coaches yesterday. 230 and 3 home runs. Chris has hit safely in 7 of his last 9 games. He's got 4 hits on the road trip. Taking a first pitch. 0-1. Chris sat out Sunday's game in Houston as well. And once again, he is down 0-2. This has been a recurring theme with Chris this year. And look at the skies overhead after our half-hour weather delay. There's some weather in the area, but mostly blue skies overhead right now.
Well, tough to figure out that weather delay. Of course, we're up here above the clouds, so we don't know what it's like down there at field level, but maybe too much sunshine. I'm not sure what the weather delay was for.
Never seen them water down the infield during a rain delay before. I like how they called it a weather delay. Here we are. We're way up top here.
Bert's the one with the oxygen mask on.
On top of K2 up here. But literally above the clouds. We are actually above the clouds. So we can see the weather for miles and miles. It's raining in Iowa right now. I can see.
I left my garage door open in Scottsdale.
There's an app for that. You can close it. 2-2. Well, Chris had a tough first couple of games in the Houston series. He struck out 6 times and 8 at bats against the Astros. And worked with the coaches all day long here yesterday on trying to keep that bat in the hitting zone a little longer. They felt he had almost got too short and too quick up there. And he's been making some contact in this at bat against Scherzer. I thought guys wanted a short, quick swing, but Chip Hale told us they're trying to get CO to lengthen his swing.
Well, you want to be quick to the ball and then long through it. That's where you get that extension through the ball, get backspin, get good carry on fly balls, ground balls, scoot through the infield a little quicker.
97 up and in, strikes out Owings. 6 in a row retired by Scherzer, who's got a 3-0 lead. Fans, follow the Diamondbacks wherever you may be with MLB.com at bat. It's the #1 app for live baseball. At bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcast, statcast, and more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. Yunel Escobar, who led off the Nationals first with his second leadoff homer this year, leads off the second. The home run is 7th of the year, and the 6th given up by Patrick Corbin this season. And Escobar is 2 for 2.
Nationals manager Matt Williams was a little irritated with Yunel Escobar. Last at bat of the ball game last night, lofted a high fly ball down the left field line. Very close, fair, foul, not quite sure, and Escobar did not run it out.
That was the play that ended the ball game.
Yeah.
So David Peralta caught in fair territory near the left field corner. But he's aboard to lead off the second. Here's Anthony Rendon, who singled and scored his first time up. And Rendon, one of their walking wounded, they just got back. His season has been to this point almost wiped out by injuries. Didn't make his debut until the first week of June. He was out with a knee and an oblique. And when he came back, he played fewer than 20 games and had to go back on the DL, this time with a left quad strain. And he missed a month. Just came back July 25th. We joked about the weather delay, but clearly if there was even a slight chance that the Nationals might have a Max Scherzer start in a critical game shortened by a delay where he could only pitch an inning or two, they were going to take no chances, and so we were pushed back a half hour. Some gamesmanship, or is that fair play?
I think it's pretty much standard operating practice for all teams, especially when you have your ace taking the mound. You don't want to waste that day. You don't want to, as you said, get him out there for an inning or two and then have to pull the plug because of a lengthy rain delay.
There's a pop up near the Washington dugout. Goldie and Salty on the steps. There's Shue, the pitching bench coach out there to give the assist, so thanks to Rick Shue over there for making sure Goldie didn't fall down the steps.
No rail in that particular area, just that top step, and then you fall down into the dugout, so a little assistance there from the coaching staff, greatly appreciated. Yeah, until the lineup cards are actually exchanged, the decision as to whether you play, whether you delay is up to the home team. So the Nationals got the weather report, checked the radar, and said, we better push this one back a half an hour.
And once the game begins, it's then in the hands of the umpires, right?
In the hands of the umpire, yep. Now, the umpires get a lot of their information from the hometown grounds crew, so there could be a little gamesmanship there once the lineup cards are exchanged, but hopefully no delays here tonight. We're underway. It's a beautiful evening for baseball.
2-2. This is going to be a short night for Patrick Corbin. The pitch count is escalating here, and he is yet to record an out in the second inning. Now, Colementor has stopped throwing the Diamondback bullpen, but with Patrick on a hard cap of 90 to 95 pitches, this one is not going their way. Just inside it, it's full 3-2. Harper on deck. .45 pitches for Patrick, 29 strikes. 3-2 to Rendon. Escobar takes off, and that's a foul ball. He laced it down the left field line, but just foul.
It's the 12th foul ball already here in the first inning plus of this ball game for Patrick Corbin. That'll run up your count in a hurry. Ask Robbie Ray.
Yeah. Rendon knows he just missed it. This guy's a hitter. They asked him, do you prefer second base or third? He's played both. He says, I don't care as long as I have a bat in my hands. He's one of those guys. Ninth pitch of the at-bat right here. Escobar was brought in to play second, but when Rendon was hurt, he moved over to third, and he's played at third all year long. And now Rendon, back from the DL, is the everyday second baseman again. There goes Escobar, center field. A.J. Pollock's out there. And there's one away in the second. Here comes Harper. Bryce Harper doubled and scored his first time up. Well, the heat maps will show you that Bryce Harper covers the entire strike zone. There's no great place to pitch him. He can get to everything. And if it's not a strike, this year he is not swinging. Oftentimes, even at borderline strikes, his plate discipline this year has been much improved. This is skied up in the air, right side near the dugout, and out of play. It used to be when he first came up on, like batting practice, he would swing out of his shoes, he'd swing at everything in sight, but now he has really become disciplined and selective up there.
74 walks already on the season. That's a career high, and we've got a third of the year left to go. I think his increase in offensive numbers go right along with his willingness to force that opposing pitcher to throw the ball in the zone.
As we just saw, he has doubled his walk percentage. He's walking twice as often as he did last year. And at the same time, he's cut down on his strikeouts dramatically. And as a result, he's second in the league in hitting behind Goldie at .330 and climbing 1-for-1 so far tonight. There you go. You can, if you really can get it in there, pitch him down and in. That's about it. Big cut at that.
Yeah, right there.
That'll work.
That's usually a danger zone for most left-handed hitters. They really like that ball down and in, but for whatever reason, that's Bryce Harper's kryptonite, down and in.
Oftentimes, even if that's a strike, he'll just take it anyway and wait for a better pitch, but he jumped on that one.
Changed the direction of that pitch enough that it hit Jared Saltalamacchia in the heel of the glove and popped straight back toward the mound. Couldn't hang on.
Missed away. It's full 3-2.
You know, another thing that great eye at the plate has gotten Bryce Harper this year, besides increased offensive numbers and more walks, is more ejections. You know, he's got a real good eye for the strike zone. He knows when a pitch is in the zone and when it's not, and he's been pitched 3 times this year arguing called strikes with the home plate umpire.
He was tossed from a game at Citi Field in New York on Friday, in a game that the Nationals lost by 1 run in extra innings. He was run by Jerry Meals. Of course, earlier this year, he was thrown out at Chase Field. And several times when he argues, he explodes. And Matt Williams said this weekend, one key for Bryce Harper this year, he needs to stay in the baseball game.
Yeah.
I mean, when he loses it, he loses it.
We certainly appreciate the fact that he's got such a good eye that he's right more often than the umpires. Of course, who isn't?
Second walk issued by Patrick Corbin. Team meeting on the mound with Chip Hale.
But you've got to stay in the ball game. As frustrated as you are, as mad as you are at that home plate umpire, you got to stay in the game.
That's going to be it for Patrick Corbin. He's done after recording only 4 outs and throwing 54 pitches. He's down 3-0. He's responsible for 2 base runners, and here comes Josh Colminter. We'll be back from Washington after this. Honda dealer, where you'll get more standard features for less money. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Mix One, great taste, no face, available at local retailers. A rough night for Patrick Corbin here at Nats Park. He goes only 1 1/3 innings, giving up 3 runs, responsible for 2 base runners. And here comes Josh Colminter. Now this is interesting with Josh, his 25th appearance of the year. Just 3 days ago, Saturday in Houston, he came on in short relief of Jeremy Hellickson and threw 76 pitches in 4 2/3 innings. So he's already, I imagine, a little worn out.
Well, it remains to be seen how much Diamondbacks can get out of Josh here tonight. I'm sure he'll keep taking the ball as long as Chip's willing to give it to him. But you see 76 pitches in nearly 5 innings of work on Saturday. Couple days of rest in between and right back out there again tonight.
That was after Jeremy lasted only 3 1/3 against Houston. 2 on, 1 out. Ryan Zimmerman, an RBI single his last time up. And remember, he homered in the 9th inning last night. Double play ball here. Chris Owings, Nick Ahmed, Paul Goldschmidt. They roll it. Josh Colminter comes in and immediately puts out the fire. He keeps it a 3-0 ball game. That's it for Patrick Corbin. We go to the 3rd in D.C. 3-0 Nationals. Jody Jackson with you. Diamondbacks down 3-0 as we start the third. Max Scherzer has retired the last 6 he's faced. Nick Ahmed will lead it off for the Diamondbacks here in the third inning. And Nick, coming off his 4 for 4 last night, including a home run, his 7th of the year. Lifts this in the air out to Bryce Harper and right. 1 pitch, 1 out in the third. So Patrick Corbin has to be removed from the ball game before his spot in the batting order even comes up. Josh Colementor. Patrick Corbin as a starting pitcher tonight, the shortest outing of his career. He went only 1 1/3 innings. 3 runs all earned on 6 hits. He walked 2 and struck out 1, including a home run by Yunel Escobar to lead off the ball game. 54 pitches, 34 strikes for Patrick.
And the Nationals offensively used the same approach that the Diamondbacks have used against a lot of good pitchers this year. Attack early. Guys want to establish the strike zone. They're going to throw a lot of strikes in that first inning, just trying to get acclimated to the mound and the umpire's strike zone. Be ready to hit those strikes early in the ball game, and the Nationals came out ready to hit tonight.
Colementor, who was ahead 3-0, looks at 2 strikes from Scherzer. And works a 1-out walk.
Well, as Josh makes his way down to first base, let's take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the ball game tonight. We'll use the second one first. Don't miss the mistakes. And Max Scherzer will make mistakes in the strike zone. He has a lot of confidence in his stuff, and many times he'll just attack the middle of the zone. You cannot afford to miss those mistakes. And for the D-backs as a team, they need to continue to look at the big picture. So many times recently they've won 4 or 5 or 6 games in a row and really feeling good about themselves, and then they lose one ball game and it completely falls off the map and they go the wrong direction. You're playing a good team in their ballpark at the end of a long 10-game road trip. Hey, you'd like to win all 4 games. You'd love to win 3, but at worst, take 2 of these games and head on home.
Ender Inciarte, a bunt single to lead off the ball game his first time up. He's down 0-2 here. Ender, the bunt single was the Diamondbacks' 22nd bunt base hit of the year. That leads the National League. Only the Texas Rangers have more in the majors with 26.
I haven't been involved with a lot of really good teams over the course of my playing, coaching, and managing and broadcasting career for that matter. But the good ones always look forward. Don't worry about what happened yesterday. We can't change that whether we won or lost. Forget about it. It's done. It's gone. It's like climbing a ladder. Once you go past a rung, you don't turn around and look back at it. You look at the next rung. And that's what the Diamondbacks need to learn. These young, hungry players need to learn to let yesterday go and move forward. It has no bearing on today's ball game. Win or lose.
Sounds like you've had a manager or a coach or two giving you that speech over the years.
I've heard it in various voices, and some not so nice, some very nice. But yeah, it's a truth about this game. You can't change anything that happened yesterday or last week or back in spring training or last year. All you can do is concentrate on today's game, try to do everything you can to win today, and then forget about it. If you happen to make mistakes, you try to correct those mistakes, but don't dwell on them. Correct them and move on.
Scherzer and Wilson Ramos trying to get together. They have worked very much in sync this year, says Matt Williams. Doesn't see Scherzer shaking off very much when Ramos is back there, but they're having problems getting together here ahead of Inciarte 0-2 after the walk to Colementor. Arm on a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Third strikeout for Scherzer, 2 down.
And we we were down at Matt Williams' office before the ball game yesterday, and the question came up, what do you think about Max Scherzer? How do you like Max Scherzer? And Matty, without missing a beat, said he drives me crazy.
Huh?
On days he doesn't pitch, he said we'll be sitting there in the middle of an inning, and all of a sudden Scherzer will walk over and say, hey, I've been thinking.
Oh, boy.
And Matty says, right away, I know I'm in trouble.
I bet managers love to hear that.
Yeah, the one specific incident he was talking about, Scherzer was a base runner on at first base with 2 outs in the inning, and they were playing the first baseman behind him. And he said, listen, if they're going to play that guy behind me, I should just go ahead and steal second. And Matt told him there are 210 million reasons why that will never happen.
Because you know who'd hear about it?
Ooh.
Matt Williams.
Oh, slide into second base and break his ankle or jam a finger. Ooh.
A.J. Pollock down 0-2. Well, they can't afford that. Spent a lot of money on Max Scherzer. It's an unusual contract. He got a $50 million signing bonus. And the back end of the contract, about $105 million of the $210 is deferred. So he gets installment payments of $15 million a year every year, all the way to 2028.
Brilliant.
How do you sign up for that plan? 7 years, $210 million.
Do they have a Hall of Fame for agents?
They should. 40 pitches, 28 strikes. You're going to sit on your butt at home when you're done playing. And every July 1st, you're going to get a check for $15 million for 7 years. Center field. Taylor runs it down in the gap. And they strand the one-out walk, bottom third in D.C. Diamondbacks down 3-0.
To take a look at our Geico this day in Major League Baseball history. After driving in the eventual winning run early in the ball game for the Mets against the Cubs at Wrigley Field, Joe Youngblood was traded during the game to the Montreal Expos. He took off his uniform, jumped in a cab, went to O'Hare, flew to Philadelphia, and got a base hit for the Expos that night. First player ever to get a hit for 2 different teams in 2 different cities on the same day. And Joel was a teammate of mine with the San Francisco Giants later in his career.
Gamer.
Oh,
of course,
yeah.
He's used to be the Expos, the Washington Nationals. And now Joel Youngblood coaching in the Diamondbacks minor league system. The Hawk, Andre Dawson. Remembered here along with Gary Carter, some other Expo greats. Jason Worth leads off the third against Josh Clemente.
It was a much more famous this day in baseball history that a lot of people have seen because of the 2 combatants involved. But may remember Nolan Ryan thumped Robin Ventura with a pitch, and Robin Ventura charged him out and made a cardinal mistake.
He tells a great story about that.
Yeah. don't lead with your head, Robin. I mean, he just stuck his head out there. Nolan put him in a headlock and popped him 6 times in the forehead before Robin Ventura knew what hit him.
Robin Ventura often says, as soon as I left the box, I thought to myself, this was a mistake. Pudge Rodriguez trying to tackle him. Yeah, Nolan's getting his shots in right there. Look at that fist.
And that's his throwing hand. Usually pitchers don't do anything with their throwing hand or throwing arm. They carry their luggage with their left arm. Everything they do, they use their left arm and their left hand to protect the moneymaker. But look at Nolan. Hey, I don't care. Right hand, left hand. I'm going to pop you in the head as many times as I can before they break this up.
It looks like a big brother torturing his little brother.
It does. Noogies.
Why are you hitting yourself? 2 and 2 the word.
Yeah, that's that cardinal mistake. You run out there, you're ready to fight, and then the last thing you do is duck your head forward to give him something to tee off on, and in this case, Nolan just put him in a headlock.
We were in Houston last week, and Joe Carter was there, now special assistant to Dave Stewart, and Joe was telling stories about some of the fights that he's been in, none of which I can repeat on the air. Now, Joe say I don't like to fight. He's a peacemaker, but he's a big guy, and certainly was when he was playing. But he would get in there and just sort the pile out. It is amazing what happens when the bench is empty. Although now it seems a little more tame. Guys kind of posture and gesture and yell, and rarely does it get into punches.
I think some of the lengthy suspensions that have been handed down when guys actually do get at it has been somewhat of a deterrent.
Still 2 and 2 on Worth. Now, when you're catching and the batter charges the mound, your responsibility as the catcher is to go get him, right?
Yeah, try to get him before he gets to your pitcher.
Did you have to do that?
Oh, yeah. A lot of times. Speaking about Houston, we just came from there, and Enos Cabell has some title with the organization. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but Enos, we were actually teammates at one time, but he got hit by a pitch in the Astrodome and went out there to charge the mound, and I got him just as he got to the dirt part of the mound, kind of over the back, and my left arm ended up underneath his chin, and I had him in a pretty good headlock, and then the pile collapsed on us.
Oh, boy.
So now I can't move my arm if I wanted to, and I can hear Enos at the bottom of the pile. He can't breathe, and I can't move my arm.
10th pitch coming up in this at bat. And that's now 7 straight foul balls for Worth against Coleminter.
Well, eventually the pile broke apart, and I heard a familiar voice. Dusty Baker was standing above me saying, "BB, let him go, let him go." So I finally loosened my grip around Enos Cabell's neck, and one of their coaches grabbed my left arm and tried to crank it up behind my back while I was still laying on the ground, and Dusty dotted the guy, and here we go again.
How about this? 8 straight foul balls. 8 in a row. The longest 2-2 count in baseball history. I guess if Worth charged him out, he could just grab his beard.
Just grab a hold of some hair.
Yeah. Although it's 6'5", 240, I'd probably let you do it. This is into fair territory, right center field. A.J. Pollock has it. And finally, the first out of the bottom of the third. The catch on one of the foul balls here by a fan.
Oh, nice play. Barehanded right behind home plate. 12 pitch at bat that time for Jason Worth.
Ian Desmond struck out his first time. Talked about how Desmond has slumped all year long. The bat's been a little better lately. He's only at .216 on the year, but over his last 14 games, he's hit about .300 and has 4 home runs over that span. But At this point, he almost seems like a lost cause in terms of staying in Washington and getting a big free agent contract. He'll be a free agent after this year. Third in the league in strikeouts behind 2 rookies. And it falls under the heading of a bird in the hand and the whole thing there, because at one point he turned down a pretty nice contract from the Nationals, $107 million over 7 years. That was a couple of years ago. He wanted to test the free agent market, but now with the way he's played this year, 107, I'm not sure that's out there for him.
Probably not.
And he strikes out for the second time tonight.
It's a bad combination for Desmond. If you're going to strike out 160, 170, 180 times a year, you better hit the ball in the seats about 30 times and play good defense. And he is doing neither.
He leads all National League shortstops in errors. And he's on pace to challenge his rookie season 5 years ago when he booted 34 balls at shortstop. He's ahead of. If you've made more errors than Starlin Castro, you're going the wrong way. Here's Ramos. Wilson Ramos, the catcher, walked his first time. And this is another guy who's striking out in bunches this year. Ramos has been a nice power hitting catcher in his career, a 15 homer season. He had 16 home runs 2 years ago. He's never been a guy who walks very much at all, but this year he's striking out more than ever before. He's got a base hit, 2-out single. Michael Taylor now singled in his first at bat after he had a pair of hits last night. Taylor had a single in the 5th last night, a 2-run double as part of that 4-run Nationals 9th. Taylor's had a nice year. He's been a nice piece for them, and he should be a good player for the Nationals moving forward. But Bob, all we hear about from the Nationals people here is how much they missed an Art Span.
Yeah.
And everybody here tells us he is the guy that makes this team go, and they think he'll be back soon, but they have sorely missed him.
Well, he's got a little bit of an attitude, a little bit of swagger in that leadoff spot in the lineup. Plays good defense out in center field. That's amazing how losing one guy out of your starting lineup can have such an effect on everybody.
Well, especially when it's a leadoff guy center fielder type, right?
Yep.
Because once the leadoff guy's out, then the dominoes just go.
And as we mentioned, they're hoping Span will be back sometime mid-month.
And right there, without him, they're 19-26. With him, 11 games over 500. He's been out for a long time now with back spasms. Been out since July 7th. He's had a couple of cortisone shots in there as well, trying to get healthy. And this weekend, while they were in New York, he swung a bat for the first time in a month. Two and two on Taylor. All right, to Peralta. We are through 3. D-backs trail at 3-0.
Peralta will be up to bat shortly, and he had his 10th home run of the year last night. He's a scorching 10 for 23 on this trip. In fact, he said he's feeling very comfortable at the plate, just trying to stay aggressive. And of course, the increased playing times really helped him, even with Ender Inciarte back off the DL. Chip Hale said, yes, Yasmani Tomas is just not earning those at-bats right now like David and Ender and AJ are. So, again, Yasmani trying to battle through a long season. He's played this much baseball in a long time, and certainly never at this level. But you're seeing that combination of Inciarte, Pollock, and Peralta a little bit more until they see a little bit more from Tomas.
Goldie leads off the fourth. Thank you, Jody. He struck out his first time up against Max Scherzer. From up here, and well, from way up here tonight, it sure looks like Yasmani Tomas, Bob, has hit a wall. He looks fatigued.
Yeah, you know, and it's that catch-22. You're not going to get more playing time till you have better at-bats, but you're not going to have better at-bats until you play more. And it just been very tough for Yasmani to get anything going. He put together a couple of good at-bats, and you feel like he's on the right path, and then he'll come back the next day and take strikes and swing at balls, and just look like he's completely out of sync with the game.
So he's not in the starting lineup again tonight, Yasmani Tomas. The strikeouts have really piled up lately. Goldie strikes out for the second time tonight. One down in the fourth. And in the meantime, you've got David Peralta, who, as Jody mentioned, is having a tremendous road trip. He flied out his first time up, 10 for 24 on the trip right now with 7 RBIs.
You talk about somebody that's in a little bit of a funk over his last 4 games. Paul Goldschmidt is 0 for 13 with 7 strikeouts.
Now, Goldie has gone hitless in 3 straight games for just the second time all year.
He's seen 10 pitches in the ball game tonight, had 6 swings and misses.
One and one on Peralta.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. And a promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
David, a big part of last night's win. 2 hits, including his 10th home run. This was Peralta versus Doug Fister last night. Just over the glove of Michael Taylor in center.
Well, Michael Taylor ever so lightly brushed the top of the fence with the back of his glove. I think that prevented him from getting up there and stealing a home run away from David Peralta. I know a lot of Diamondbacks fans will remember the 1999 playoffs against the Mets. When Steve Finley went back to center field, looked like he had a bead on a ball that was leaving the park and jammed his shoulder against the fence as he went to make his jump, and the ball sailed on out. Sometimes you get a little too close to that barrier and you can't reach maximum height on your jump.
Well, so far against Max Scherzer, the Diamondbacks' only hit was Ender Inciarte's bunt single to lead off the ball game. Scherzer has struck out 4, he's walked 2. And they'll try to get something going here. 1 on, 1 out for Jake Lamb. Jake grounded out his first time up.
We'll take another look at that attempt by Michael Taylor in center field on the Peralta homer. Watch his glove just hits the top of the fence just enough from keeping him getting full extension and possibly making a play on that ball. He thought he had a chance at it, but that contact with the top of the wall prevented him from getting up to the highest of heights, like where we are.
We're up here with the blimps. Base hit. Peralta running hard. That freight train will take the turn and head for third. And it's another base hit for Jake Lamb. The Diamondbacks have runners in the corners now with a 1 out for Jared Saltalamacchia.
The middle of the plate fastball kind of smothered it, but pulled it down that first base side past a diving Ryan Zimmerman. And Peralta easily advances first to third. Well, you remember one of our keys to the game was take advantage of every Scherzer mistake, and also you have to take advantage of every opportunity you get to put a run on the board against a pitcher as good as Max Scherzer.
Still only 3-0. Long way to go here. Jared Saltalamacchia flying out his first time up, 0 for 1. Jared getting his second start on this road trip. He got the start behind the plate Saturday against the Astros and had an RBI single in that ball game against Dallas Keuchel. One and one. A night off for Beef Wellington, who actually had some Beef Wellington before the ball game today. A highlight of our Diamondback Live pregame show. Jody Jackson and Brian Henry arranged for Beef Wellington to try some Beef Wellington, and he loved it. A really good job on that. They had a chef out there, BB, and a nice table set up on the field for him. It was lovely, and he had a bite, said it was really good. And they said, "Do you want any more?" He said, "Well, I'm not playing tonight. I can eat the whole thing right now." But he shared it with some of the coaches and some of his teammates in the clubhouse. It's big. I've never actually seen Beef Wellington. It's a whole big thing. Yeah. It's not like you're eating, chicken nuggets. It's a project. This was Beef Wellington and Beef Wellington earlier today. I mean, this is a lovely setup.
Question I had for you is, do you know the origin of the Bansett for baseball?
They had a chair for him.
White tablecloth. That's a bottle of steak sauce, by the way. I thought it was a bottle of wine initially, but that was steak sauce.
Gracie was chowing down in there. 3-1 on Salty. There's the strike. It's full. So we'll see some beef signs when we get back home this weekend against the Reds. Beef mode. Diamondbacks have been in beef mode here for most of this road trip and trying to get the offense cranked up here. 3-2 to Saltalamacchia. Another long set by Scherzer. Base hit for Salty. Peralta will score. An RBI single makes it 3-1. Diamondbacks on the board here. 3 straight have reached against Scherzer.
We mentioned Jared Saltalamacchia with good career numbers against Scherzer and rips that one through the right side of the infield, putting the D-backs on the board. A chance for some more here.
Trying to keep this going. Chris Owings now. And we'll check CO's plate discipline. They've been getting him to chase, breaking balls down and away. Last time Scherzer then went to fastballs up and in, and Owings struck out. Pitch him away with a breaking ball, swing and a miss, 0-1. .96 down and away, and once again Chris Owings is down 0-2. He's been down 0-2 since spring training. Jake Lamb at second. Jared Saltalamacchia at first. Good take there by Chris. 1-2 now. And CO, despite the strikeout totals lately, has hit safely in 7 of his last 9 games. Base hit for Owings. He drops it down the left field line. Here comes Jake Lamb. It rolls all the way to the wall. Andy Green is waving salty. Here's the throw. It's offline, and Owings is in at third. We're all tied. Chris Owings saw that work yesterday. Paid off big time. A double and 2 RBIs for Owings, who takes third on the throw, and it's 3-3.
Hanging slider right in the middle of the plate that time and bangs it down into that left field corner. A little bit of a risky send by Andy Green, waving Jared Saltalamacchia all the way around from first base. An accurate throw to the plate. They get him by a wide margin, but that's why you force the issue. Very few times do guys make perfect throws, and that one is well off the mark, allowing Salty to score the tying run.
We got a whole new ball game here, D-back Nation. Down 3-0 after 1 against Max Scherzer. The Diamondbacks have bounced back to tie it at 3-3 here in the 4th. And they have the go-ahead run at third with 1 out for Nick Ahmed, who was 4 for 4 here last night. And we mentioned that the discussion all day today on the talk radio shows here in D.C. was this is a must-win game. They've lost the division lead. They've lost 4 in a row, and they have their ace on the mound. But the Diamondbacks have battled back. It's 3-3. Nick flat out his first time up, 0 for 1. Infield in for the Nationals. 2-0.
One of the good pitchers in the game. Part of the reason they make the money they do is because they avoid long losing streaks. But after the last 5 Nationals losses when Scherzer's taken the mound, he's 0-4 with an ERA of nearly 5. Opponents hitting almost .280 against him. Not what you would expect from an ace caliber pitcher like Max Scherzer.
They need this one. They've lost 4 straight. They've lost 7 of their last 10, and they've lost their lead in the National League East. And if the postseason started tonight, the Nationals would not be a playoff team. The 2-0 to Ahmed. 95-mile-an-hour fastball up. It's 2-1.
I mean, you look at those wild card standings going into play tonight. The D-backs are only 3 games behind the Nationals.
Yep.
So there's always something to play for with those 2 wild card teams now.
Diamondbacks beginning tonight only 2 under 500, just 6 out of a wild card spot. And still very much in the postseason conversation. Two and 2. You got the pitcher Colementor on deck with 1 out, so you know that this is the guy that Scherzer really wants to get here with that go-ahead run 90 feet away. Two and 2.
This is generally a pessimistic crowd here.
Pessimism runs wild in Washington, D.C. Well, they are mostly Redskins fans after all, so you'll excuse them if they're a little bitter.
Give you that.
3 and 2 now.
Close pitch. Just a little bit of cutting action, took it off that outside corner.
And a good call back there by Mark Carlson. We've seen umpires on this road trip call that a strike, and pitches even further outside than that one. 30th pitch of the inning right here from Scherzer. So far 70 pitches, only 45 strikes. Nick Ahmed laces it down the left field line, but it's in the seats. 96-mile-an-hour fastball that time, and he turned on it. Chip Hale said earlier this year when Nick Ahmed was hitting 130, that was back in the middle of May, that Nick never gave an inch mentally. He acted like a 300 hitter, and that's how he knew that in Nick's mind he had the confidence to come back from that, and he sure did. And he works a walk against Scherzer. Third walk issued by Max Scherzer. And now 5 straight Diamondback hitters have reached. And this inning started with a Paul Goldschmidt strikeout. Peralta walked. Lamb singled. Salty the RBI single. Owings the 2-run double. The walk to Ahmed, and now here's Colementor.
Well, you would anticipate a sac bunt to move Nick Ahmed from first to second, and if it happens to be a perfect bunt, CO could possibly sneak home from third base.
Josh walked his first time up. This is always, Bob, for me, one of baseball's more interesting scenarios. Runners in the corners, pitcher up there. You know he's going to bunt. All kinds of different ways you can play this if you're Matt Williams. You got Escobar at third, walking in with Owings, the runner at third, just keeping pace.
Yeah, watch out for a good pickoff move coming up during the course of this at bat. I mentioned he'll show a bad pickoff move and lob the ball over to first base, hoping to bait that runner into taking an extra step or two.
The 1-0 pitch. This is upstairs, 2 balls and no strikes.
Well, good discipline by Josh. In an obvious bunting situation, the conventional wisdom is you throw high 4-seam fastballs, hoping that the guy will pop the ball up in the air. And Josh able to take both of those pitches up above the top of the zone, work the count in his favor.
There's the strike, 2-1. Natty working that gum in there. It's been a long inning for him. The 2-1 to Colementor. Escobar way in at third. Pulls back and takes a strike. It's 2-2. And now with 2 strikes, the infield will play back. With Escobar still shadowing Owings at third. Called strike 3. Took a borderline pitch. Now that's the second out here in the 4th.
Right on that outside corner.
That was a good call. Arizona in the house. Two down for Inciarte. Ender has singled and struck out 1 for 2. A bunt single to lead off the ball game. Ball 1.
We'll see how this at bat for Ender Inciarte goes. If he happens to fall behind in the count, a 2-strike count, I would expect Nick Ahmed to try to steal second, maybe get caught in a rundown. A little bit more on his lead over there on each successive pitch.
Get caught in a rundown, try to give Owings a chance to score first and then get tagged out. Just keep it alive until the run can cross.
If you can, yeah. I mean, it's an old high school play. It works occasionally. Sometimes just the throw to second base will be bad, and that guy can walk home from third.
Escobar even with a bag at third. Zimmerman holds Ahmed on at first. One and two now.
I'm sure it's the same thing for Chip Hale as it was in the days that I used to manage, but a lot of times you really trust the feedback you get from your base runners.
How about this? He's thrown 80 pitches in the ball game. This will be his 40th pitch in this inning. 1 and 2. Another long set by Scherzer. And he strikes out Inciarte. His 6th strikeout. Diamondbacks strand 2, but they get 3. Jared Saltalamacchia starts it off. The RBI single. Then Chris Owings comes through with a 2-run double. And we are tied in Washington. And baseball's playoff race starting to get into high gear, fans. Saturday, it's a doubleheader. The Dodgers and the Pirates, a key game for both teams. Then at 4, it's the Cardinals and the Brewers in a game you can see only on Fox Sports 1. Coverage begins at 12:30, only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. As Max Scherzer, who just had a 40-pitch 4th inning, leads off the home half for the Nationals against Josh Coleman. If you're just joining us, a half-hour weather delay to start the ball game. And then a very rough first inning for Patrick Corbin, who went just 1 1/3 tonight through 54 pitches, and Coleman is on in relief. Nationals with 3 in the first, and the Diamondbacks with 3 in the 4th. Well, Scherzer walked Coleman when Josh was up in the 3rd. Now Coleman's behind on Scherzer, 3-1.
You may notice Max Scherzer has 2 different colored eyes. Heterochromia, I believe it's called, and
nice pull.
Had it since he was a child. His mother said that even when he was in grade school and they were assigned, draw a picture of a dog, draw a picture of a cat, as he takes a base on balls, he'd always draw the picture of the dog or cat with 2 different colored eyes. There's some bobbleheads, Max Scherzer bobbleheads floating around out there with 2 different colored eyes. Doesn't bother him in the least.
There you go. There's a good look. Yudel Escobar has homered and singled 2 for 2.
1 in 500 people have that heterochromia, including Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd does. Really?
Christopher Walken.
Oh.
Kate Bosworth. Jane Seymour. It's a lot more common than you realize. I mean, he went next level, though, in the playoffs. You know, they're spraying champagne around the clubhouse, and it burns your eyes like crazy. If anybody's ever had champagne sprayed in your eyes, you don't want to have it happen a second time. So the players have taken to wearing goggles in the post-game celebration. And Scherzer has a pair of goggles that have 2 different colored lenses on them.
That's funny. 1-1. There's the strike, 1 and 2. And Escobar letting Mark Carlson have it a little bit here. Carlson's had a very good night back there for both sides.
Yeah, if anything, Mark Carlson is a little tighter than most major league umpires. You've got to throw it in the strike zone. He's not going to go 6 or 8 inches off the outside corner.
In the air to center, it backs up. AJ at the track, at the wall, and he runs it down. AJ Pollock. Applause, applause. 1 away. Scherzer just does get to the bag at first. AJ right into that right center field scoreboard. And a 1 out here in the 4th.
You've got to make that split-second decision. You saw just a peek out of the corner of his eye. Do I continue to chase this ball all the way to the fence? Do I have a chance to make the catch, or am I better served backing off and playing the ricochet? That time AJ read it perfectly. Scherzer around the bag at second, so he's got a retouch on his way back to first and able to get back safely.
One away for Anthony Rendon. Rendon singled and scored his first time up. He's 1 for 2. It's the inside strike call there to Cole Mentor. He jumps ahead 0-1. Already 40 pitches for Josh in relief of Corbin. 26 strikes.
I was talking about the celebratory goggles. There you see Max Scherzer, 2 different colored lenses in his goggles. I guess that's one way to keep your teammates from borrowing them.
He was celebrating in Detroit. The Tigers made a very surprising move today. And Dave Dombrowski, the GM, was let go. And he is no longer the GM of the Tigers. He's been the architect there in Detroit for a long time now. But they are in full rebuild mode in Motown. Two and 2 on Rendon. It's full.
And normally this would be a run count with a position player running at first base, but with Max Scherzer, the pitcher over there, I highly doubt if Matt Williams will have him on the move. That's a pretty healthy lead over there for a pitcher. He's only about a half a step short of where Nick Ahmed was getting.
Center field again. A.J. Pollock again drifting back in front of that right center field scoreboard. And once again, Scherzer scampers back to the bag at first. And that's the 2nd out. A.J. Pollock really covers those gaps to either side. Well, now he'll deal with Bryce Harper. Diamondbacks in terms of defensive runs saved. The best in the National League, behind only Kansas City in Major League Baseball.
Look at the gap between the Diamondbacks and the rest of Major League Baseball.
Thank you, Paul Harvey. Harper has doubled, scored a run, and walked.
Now here's the situation Max Scherzer was talking about with his skipper. Hey, listen, with 2 outs, they're always going to play the first baseman behind me. I could just go ahead and steal the bag.
Yeah, that's what you want to happen. Get thrown out up there, get injured, and
with Bryce Harper at the plate.
Harper's up, and that's not strategically sound.
Hey, I had a thought. Yeah, well, keep it to yourself.
0-1. There's Goldie playing behind the runner. Big cut from Harper. Nice Coleman subtracting there. 1-2. Reaches out and rolls it up the middle. Nick Ahmed. And they retire the leadoff walk through 4. Diamondbacks. The Nationals tied at 3. Saturday and Sunday alumni weekend. Randy Johnson's number 51 jersey retirement ceremony before the game on Saturday. And all fans in attendance will receive this commemorative t-shirt. Then on Sunday, well, it's the annual alumni exhibition game. Orlando Hudson, Travis Lee, Jay Bell, Reggie Sanders, Bob Brenly back on the field. It's the annual Gonzo Mike Fetters head-to-head matchup. This time it counts. I don't know. It actually doesn't count, but it's a lot of fun. Don't miss it. dbacks.com for tickets. And we'll see you at Chase Field for the Diamondbacks and Reds on Saturday and Sunday. Good one here in D.C. 3-3 as we start the 5th.
And once again, in my capacity as the commissioner of the alumni game, you will see me sitting in the dugout of the team that has the lead.
I expect some ill will in at least one of the dugouts, as you had to step in during the draft and reassign Mike Fetters to Team Gracie.
Competitive balance. We want it to be a compelling game.
I like the fact that the alumni game has a for the good of the game clause from the commissioner's office. Don't see that a lot. A.J. Pollock 0 for 2 will lead off the 5th against Max Scherzer.
Just a little side note here. All of the other games that were scheduled to start at 7 o'clock Eastern time tonight, there were 8 other games, are all in the 7th or 8th inning.
What are you saying?
That weather delay just threw everything behind the 8 ball tonight.
You mean the weather delay when it was sunny and didn't rain?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Of course, compared to last night's ball game, I think we were a half hour into the game in the top of the 4th. It was just like everybody was double parked.
The way Zach Godley pitched those first 3 innings, retired all 9 he faced with 4 strikeouts. He was making quick work of the Nationals, that's for sure.
And with Doug Fister's reputation as a big-time strike thrower early in the count, both teams were swinging at a lot of first and second pitches.
Well, not A.J. here. He's quickly down 0-2. A.J. since July 1st is hitting .340. And as we saw in that last half inning, playing excellent defense. Right to Escobar at third. One away. Hey fans, now's the time. Use the hashtag AZDataStrongFan. That's AZDataStrongFan. And if Luis Gonzalez can breathe at this altitude, I think he's looking at pictures right now, in fact, he will select your photo for our Diamondbacks TV broadcast, brought to you by T-Mobile. Gonzo here working the radio on this road trip with the Governor Greg Schulte. Here's Paul Goldschmidt, who is 0 for 2. He has struck out twice.
Gonzo does a lot more homework as a radio announcer than he ever did as a player.
You've noticed that, haven't you?
He had a cheat sheet over there on Max Scherzer, what he likes to do to lefties, what he likes to do to righties, what he'll do when he's ahead in the count, what he'll do when he gets in trouble.
So you couldn't get him to do that when he was playing?
All he wanted to know was, what is the velocity on this guy's best fastball? If he throws me his best fastball, what will the velocity be? I can adjust to everything else off of that. That's all he needed to know.
It worked. I had to give Gonzo I had to go in there and talk to him. I said, now when we show you on TV, look confused. Look like you're really looking through all these pictures, because, see, I don't think he picked up on it. Well, he lifts this in the air. Right side foul ground. Zimmerman runs out of room. Let's see. Now, let's see if I said, when we take you on camera, you know, give us something. Sell it. He's not doing it. Now, does he look like he's busily looking through photos right now?
I think he's already selected. I think his confidence is high that he's picked a good picture. We'll be the judge of that.
Yes, we'll find out later. 2-2 on Goldie. Well, you know, the question is, what's his best fastball with Max Scherzer? It's a pretty high number.
Yeah, 97, 98. On a good night, he might approach 100 miles per hour.
Look at that young D-back fan here with us. Outstanding. Game face. He's into it, man. He's locked in. Goldie strikes out for the 3rd time tonight in 3 at-bats. So in the last 4 games, counting tonight, Goldie is 0 for 14 with 8 strikeouts.
Looks like Opie Taylor.
He does. Hey, Paul. Peralta walked and scored his last time up. He's 0 for 1. Better Opie Taylor than Ernest T. Bass.
Yeah. It's me. It's Ernest T. A good pitch to hit that time. 92-mile-an-hour fastball, inner third of the plate, down a little bit, right where David likes it.
Ooh, throw that again, please.
Fastball away.
Scherzer has worked all season long, so he's got some gas in the tank. He leads the league in innings pitched. Peralta just does get a piece of that one. But the pitch count is creeping up there. Called strike 3. 8 strikeouts for Scherzer. And Mark Carlson widened his zone a little bit on that one. A 1-2-3 fifth. We're tied at 3. Continue its 5-part feature on Randy Johnson during his Hall of Fame week. Tomorrow, part 4, see how Randy's mom played a big role during Hall of Fame weekend. It's Randy Johnson Road to Cooperstown, presented by Sanderson Ford. Tomorrow, 3:30, only on Fox Sports Arizona. Bottom 5 at Nationals Park, 3-3 ball game. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly, and Jody Jackson with you. Ryan Zimmerman leads off the Washington 5th against Josh Colminter. Nationals got 3 in the first against Patrick Corbin, who retired only 4 batters in the ball game before his night ended. Josh Colminter on in relief. And the D-backs answered with a 3-run 4th against Max Scherzer. And the Nationals, since they got 5 hits and 3 runs in that first inning, have had only 2 hits since, both singles. And Colminter already at 50 pitches in relief, 33 strikes. Misses inside there, 1-2. And keep in mind also, as we mentioned, that Josh on Saturday in Houston worked 4 2/3 innings of relief and threw 76 pitches. Fly ball deep to right. It backs up Inciarte, but he's got it 1 away. Game 3 of 4 tomorrow. Let's take a look at our Chevron upcoming pitching matchup. Ruby De La Rosa against the left-hander Gio Gonzalez. Diamondback Live pregame show at 3:30 on Fox Sports Arizona. The Thursday game, the series finale and road trip finale, is not on television. That's a day game here. A 4:05 local start, 1:05 back in the great state of Arizona. Jeremy Hellickson and Joe Ross, the younger brother of Tyson Ross. That's Thursday. De La Rosa and Gonzalez tomorrow. Here's Worth. An RBI fielder's choice his first time, 0 for 2. 2-1. Worth just back from the DL a week ago tonight, and he has gone 4 for 24 since. Back from a bad wrist injury. Slowly hit to shortstop. Ahmed's on it. 2 down. That's 5 in a row retired by Coleminter. Ian Desmond 0 for 2. He has struck out twice. Strike 1. Ian Desmond was originally an Expos draftee. Drafted by the Montreal Expos. That's how deep his roots are in this organization. And Expo greats are remembered here. Gary Carter, Andre Dawson. And they stuck with him at shortstop through some difficult first few years. And he is now considered the heart and soul of the team, and in many ways the organization. Very big in the community here. He's done a great job with the Nationals Youth Baseball Academy. But he has had a miserable season offensively and defensively, and as we told you, this might be it for Desmond in D.C. He's a free agent after this year. I miss the Expos. I miss the uniforms. I miss that awful ballpark. I think I even miss Yuppie.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I had to go there.
I can't go that far.
You can see the numbers on Ian Desmond. 3 Silver Slugger awards at shortstop the last 3 years. The previous 2 outstanding. At least 20 homers and 80 RBIs. But he is really struggling this year and strikes out for the 3rd time tonight. We are through 5. We're all tied. Here's what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. The RBI men coming up for the Diamondbacks. It's Salty and CO. Congratulating umpire Brian Gorman, the crew chief here. 3,000 games. He's at third base tonight. Had the plate last night. I don't know how much you love to celebrate umpires.
Brian Gorman's one of the good guys, though. His strike zone occasionally gets a little fluid back there. We saw that last night, but he works extremely hard. Good guy. Congratulations. That's quite an accomplishment.
Jake Lamb will lead off the 6th inning against Max Scherzer, who has walked 3. He's got 8 strikeouts. He's retired the last 5 he's faced. Jake Singleton scored his last time up. He's 1 for 2. I mean, I had to bring up Yuppie, and then we honor an umpire. It's a tough night for you. You're really wearing it up here.
Walk over here and stomp on my foot.
I mean, yeah.
That's all right.
These things happen.
All's well. I'll forgive everything if the D-backs find a way to win this ball game after being down 3-0 to Max Scherzer after the first inning.
How about this? Will this work for you? Yuppie. Now, what was your deal with Yuppie again? What's wrong with Yuppie?
I actually got to see the person inside the Yuppie costume on numerous occasions, and he was a despicable person too.
Numerous occasions. Despicable.
Yes.
Andrew Chafin warming up. Do I dare even ask in what way?
No, just in general. Just everything the guy did rubbed me the wrong way.
You mean in the suit or out of the suit?
Yes.
Aaron Barrett warming up in the Nationals bullpen. 1-2 on land. The 100th pitch from Max Scherzer is fouled back here.
Yuppie used to lay on his stomach on the roof of the dugout at Olympic Stadium and, kind of stick his head down, upside down looking at the players on the bench, and guys used to jump off the bench and try to grab him and pull his head off.
That sounds like fun, actually. 100 pitches, 67 strikes.
But Yuppie realized how badly visiting teams really disliked him, and he was pretty quick. He was very agile, tough to get.
Now, was it because he's French?
Well, no, not necessarily. I have nothing against the French.
Just despicable.
Just him.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe one day baseball will be back in Montreal and Yuppie will have a gig again. Scherzer misses there, and it's full 3-2 on land.
I'm sure there are a lot of Yuppie fans out there, and I hate to burst your bubble, but Yuppie didn't even like baseball at all.
What do you mean?
He just didn't like baseball.
How can that be?
That was his gig. That was his act. I'm a clown. I'm out here running around in this moldy suit.
Called strike 3. That's 9 for Scherzer, who's now struck out 3 in a row.
Well, we've seen Mark Carlson go off that corner to the lefties, not so much to the right-handers on pitches away, but he will sneak out there a little bit with the left-handed hitter.
Scherzer has struck out 3 straight and 5 of the last 6 Diamondbacks. Here's Saltalamacchia. Salty, an RBI single. He scored a run his last time up. 1 for 2. Part of that 3-run Diamondback fourth. So come back and tie the ball game. Peralta walked with 1 out. Lamb single. Saltalamacchia the RBI single. Chris Owings the 2-run double. Quickly down 0-2. Is this Scherzer maybe emptying the tank here?
It could be. I mean, 105 pitches, not an extraordinary amount for Max Scherzer. This is a guy that's a tremendously conditioned athlete. But as we mentioned earlier, there's a third of the season left to go, and Matt Williams is going to run Max Scherzer out there 10 or 12 more times and possibly more in the postseason. So they may have to pull the plug on him after this inning.
Oof. 2-2. Close. Diamondbacks in that 4th inning had 3 hits, 2 walks. They scored 3 runs. In every other inning, they have managed only 1 bunt base hit and a walk. So that 1 inning has really bitten Scherzer here. By the way, Yuppie has got another gig. He's now with the Montreal Canadiens.
I'm not a big fan of the Canadiens either.
Hockey de Montreal, the Canadiens. 2-2. Short center. Desmond drifting out there. Now over to left center field. And that's the 2nd out. 7 straight set down by Scherzer. His season high, by the way, is 119 pitches, but he's been over 110 5 times. So right about at the line here. And the right-hander Aaron Barrett looks ready.
And you can almost hear I would call them typewriters, but the word processors right now. If Matt Williams does take Max Scherzer out of a tie ball game after everybody's been building this up as their biggest game of the summer, this is their biggest game of the year. And if Matt Williams pulls the plug on Scherzer in a 3-3 tie, I'm sure there are a number of writers out there that are going to jump down his throat about that.
Well, he's coming up third in the next inning for the Nationals in the bottom of the sixth. They'll go Ramos, Taylor, Scherzer, 7, 8, 9. So you would assume in a 3-3 game that they'd hit for him anyway. So give it all you got right here. He's ahead of Owings, 0-2.
Third at bat. Third time Chris Owings has been 0-2 in the ball game.
Amazing, isn't it? He has struck out and hit a 2-run double. Got 5 hits on the road trip and 4 RBIs. He has been down 0-2 this season now 90 times, 25% of his plate appearances. And he hits a little looper right to Zimmerman. So Max Scherzer retires the final 8 that he faces. Bottom 6 coming up. We're tied at 3.
Is brought to you in part by Oregano's Pizza Bistro, your neighborhood pizza joint. We are athletic supporters. By Card Power from Arizona Federal Credit Union. Now that's the power of us. And by Hayward Pool Products. For crystal clear pool water, choose the world's best-selling salt fluoridation system, AquaRite.
Washington, D.C., good ball game going here. Diamondbacks trailed at 3-0 after 1 inning. They have come back to tie it 3-3. As Patrick Corbin was able to get only 4 outs tonight. Josh Colemanter outstanding in relief, and now it's Andrew Chafin's turn as Chip Hale looks for some length out of his bullpen here tonight. 43rd appearance for Andrew, a 2.63 ERA. Colemanter, how about that, Bob? What a job he did of settling things down. He went 3 2/3, gave up only 1 hit. He had a walk and 2 strikeouts. So it's Chafin on to start the bottom of the 6th. Wilson Ramos, Michael Taylor in the pitcher's spot. 7, 8, 9 for the Nationals. Ramos has walked and singled 1 for 1. On the ground to shortstop. Nick Ahmed has it. One away. Defensive changes behind Andrew Chafin as well. Cliff Pennington checks in for Chris Owings and takes over at second. So Pennington will hit ninth. And the pitcher spot will now be seventh in the Diamondback order with a double switch. Here's Taylor. Tell you what, after Colementor on Saturday pitched 4 2/3 through 76 pitches. He did an outstanding job here tonight.
Some of the best command we've seen from Josh all season long. Even when he was in the starting rotation, he was really spotting his fastball well tonight, which always sets up that changeup.
1-1 on Michael Taylor. Dan Uggla and his forearms are on deck. He will hit for Scherzer. Two and two. Bullpen busy for Washington. Saw Aaron Barrett, the right-hander, up earlier. Casey Jansen now throwing. Three and two on Taylor. Got him. First strikeout for Chafin, 2 down.
Kind of a half-hearted attempt that time by Michael Taylor. It's just tailing off that outside corner. Good location for a guy that's aggressively trying to protect the plate. Now we get Papa.
A Dan Uggla signing. Mike Harkey with a mound visit here. Uggla under 200 for the year, only 7 extra base hits all season. And 2 for his last 27 at the plate. A 3-time All-Star with Florida and Atlanta. His 10th season in the big leagues at age 35, and he signed with the Nationals last December. And he used to hit and hit quite a lot, but lately not so much.
It seems like another lifetime ago now, but Dan Uggla was a Diamondbacks farmhand at the same time as Connor Jackson and Carlos Quentin. And I remember in a lot of spring training games, especially toward the end of spring training, we would always have to augment our roster with some guys from the minor league camp. So we would call over there and say, send us 2 outfielders, 2 infielders, and a catcher. And Dan Uggla and Connor Jackson and Carlos Quentin made that trip almost daily to come over and back up for the big league club. And it seems like every time we put them in a game, they would do something good. And Dan Uggla was a big part of that. You could tell he was going to be a hitter.
An 11th round pick by the D-backs back in the 2001 draft out of the University of Memphis. 234 career home runs. He had 5 straight 30-homer seasons with between 80 and 100 RBIs. He went to 3 All-Star games. One year he even led the league in walks, which is almost impossible to imagine now. But in this at-bat, he's ahead 3-0. Drives it to left. Peralta at the track. He's got room and he runs it down. A little too much ballpark for Dan Uggla. Chafin works a 1-2-3 6th. David Peralta takes a deep breath and runs that one down shy of the wall. We'll go to the 7th, still tied at 3.
Nick Ahmed will be up at the plate here momentarily. He began the trip slumping badly, but he's having way better at bats. And last night, 4 for 4, including a home run. Chip Hale said, look, his confidence never wavers. And we talked about it in Houston. His UConn teammate George Springer said he would always work in the cages at UConn late at night. And even still now, guys, he continually takes a lot of swings. He even told me today he really misses the Martin Prado workout. He used to do that a lot, but he doesn't keep up with that now as much as he used to. He's actually cut back a little bit to just try to stay fresh and not get tired, or mainly just stay healthy this point in the season. But guys, he is just a tireless worker. And again, what Chip loves about him is whether he's in a slump or not, he is the same guy and he's confident.
And he leads off the 7th against the new Nationals pitcher. It's the veteran Casey Janssen, who was a very good closer the last 3 years for the Toronto Blue Jays. And now he's part of the setup core here for Matt Williams. 81 saves over the previous 3 seasons in Toronto. Ahmed pops this one up short left field for Worth. Well, we talked about Drew Storing last night, Bob, who lost the closer's job here, even though he's been outstanding this year. They acquired Jonathan Papelbon at the deadline. So Storing's been a closer. Jansen's been a closer. I got to imagine that would help when you're a setup guy to have pitched the 9th inning before.
I think absolutely it helps, and it also helps a manager to have guys that you can slot in that closer's role if Papelbon pitches 3 days in a row or has a little tweak somewhere and can't take the ball on a given night. You've got a couple of other options down there in that pen who have pitched that 9th inning.
Jansen signed as a free agent with Washington back on Groundhog Day, actually, early February. Pennington, 236 and a homer. Came in at second base, part of the double switch, as they need some length from Andrew Chafin. So he's in there at second for Owens. 2 for 9 with a pair of walks on the road trip so far. And he's quickly a strikeout victim, 2 down.
And on that inside corner, the fact that Cliff kind of checked his swing a little bit may have helped Dan Carlson make that strike 3 call on a fastball inside.
Ender Inciarte, a bunt single. He has struck out twice. Slaps it the other way, but right at Escobar, who is cheating in, and Jansen works a 1-2-3 inning. Stretch time at Nationals Park. Diamondbacks and Nats tied up at 3. Against Patrick Corbin, who was chased after retiring only 4 batters. Diamondbacks were down 3-0 almost from the get-go here. They answered with 3 in the 4th to tie the ball game, and in the meantime, Josh Colmenter, outstanding in relief, 3 2/3 innings. He gave up only 1 hit.
Yeah, really good outing for Josh tonight when the D-backs needed it the most. The short outing from Patrick Corbin really could have put a big strain on that Diamondbacks bullpen, but Josh able to eat up 3 2/3 and now turns it over to Andrew Chafin.
Chafin back out there for his second inning of work, and Yunel Escobar will lead off the 7th. Escobar hit a leadoff homer against Corbin. He's 2 for 3. And the Nationals, since Escobar had a single to lead off the 2nd inning against Patrick Corbin, have had only 1 base hit. A Ramos single in the 3rd with 2 outs. Nationals have just 7 hits tonight, 5 of them coming in that 1st inning. They got 3 against Corbin. Chafin behind 3-0. Drew Storer, who pitched last night, worked the 8th inning. Looks like he might get the 8th inning again here tonight. Misses away. It's a leadoff walk.
It's been a very unusual series so far for the Nationals. In the first 8 innings of the ball game last night, they were dead silent, and then in the 9th inning, they busted loose for 4 runs against Daniel Hudson. Tonight, it was the 1st inning with 3 pushed across against Patrick Corbin, and have done very little since.
That is Washington's first base runner since Scherzer walked to lead off the 4th inning. Here's Rendon, a single and a run scored. He's 1 for 3. David Hernandez warming up at the Diamondback bullpen. Chafin can't find the strike zone. He walked Escobar to lead it off, and now is behind on Rendon, 2-0. Chafin's got to do something right here. He's got Bryce Harper on deck. Two and 1. 3-1.
Retire big league hitters when you're behind in the count. It's a dangerous way to go about making a living, falling behind guys like Anthony Rendon. 2-0 and 3-1 in the same at bat, but both times Chafin was able to get a weak foul ball to the opposite side.
Now, this guy is a good hitter. There's a reason he's in the 2-hole, just ahead of Harper. 3-2 pitch. Right to Goldie, and they double off Escobar. How about that? Oh, did Chafin get a huge break right there?
Well, you're looking at a potential triple down into that right field corner with a run on the board. Instead, right to Goldie at first base, an easy double play. That's
a lot to ask for, and his prayers were answered there. So That was a potential disaster waiting to happen. Instead, it's bases empty, 2 outs for Harper, who doubled and scored in the first. Jumps on the first one, backs up Pollock right in front of the warning track. Andrew Chafin walks the high wire but escapes. Will go to the eighth, still 3-3. The Cox Kick Alive high-speed highlights. This one's been a battle. 3-3 eighth inning. And the new pitcher for the Nationals, their former closer, now the setup guy for Jonathan Papelbon. It's Drew Stewart, who's been outstanding this year. He's worked 39 innings. He's given up only 28 hits, 49 strikeouts. He got 3 outs in the eighth inning last night on a total of just 7 pitches. He got Pollock, Goldie, and Peralta. And he'll face those same 3 hitters in the eighth inning here. 3-3 Diamondbacks and Nationals. AJ so far 0 for 3. Nationals pitchers have retired the last 11 Diamondback hitters. D-backs have not had a base runner since Nick Ahmed's walk back in the 4th inning. 0-2 on Pollock. Lazy fly ball to Bryce Harper in right field. 1 away. Well, let's see how Gonzo did here with the altitude sickness. As promised, it's our AZ Data Strong fan photo of the game. And Gonzo has selected this one from Will, a D-backs fan, traveling the world.
Nice.
That little guy is still going. Our AZ Data Strong fan photo, as selected by Luis Gonzalez, brought to you by T-Mobile.
That was on a roll.
Sure is. He has really answered the bell. Well, Goldie so far has had a tough night. 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. He hit a foul pop up to the catcher against Storen last night.
Goldie's just glad to see anybody but Max Scherzer out there on the mound. He saw 16 pitches from Scherzer. 7 times he swung and missed.
Holy, how about this? 0 for his last 14 with 8 strikeouts. He's gone hitless in his last 3 games. Only the second time all year that's happened. And he's 0 for 3 tonight. Make it 0 for 4. The golden sombrero for Paul Goldschmidt. And a word with Mark Carlson.
Yeah, it looks like a slider that Storen tried to throw to the front door there and nipped the inside corner. I think I agree with Goldie. I'm not so sure it got to that inside corner.
Yep. Well, Fox Track says it didn't. David Peralta struck out against Storen last night. David is 0 for 2. He walked and scored back in that 3-run D-backs fourth. Storen is tough.
He's got good stuff. I mean, that 94-mile-an-hour sinker tailing down away from David right there. He's thrown that slider on both sides of the plate. So far, 8 pitches since he came into the ball game, all strikes.
The former first-round pick, the 0-2 to Peralta. Just does get a piece of it. Swing and bunt. Ramos is on it, and he throws him out once again. Drew Storen comes in the 8th inning and retires Pollock, Goldschmidt, and Peralta in order, still tied in D.C.
All fans can get a zombie makeover if you need one. Explore a haunted maze and enjoy a zombie-themed post-game fireworks show presented by Gila River Casinos. Plus, as if that's not enough, fans that purchase a special event ticket pack will get the zombie survival duffel bag. Visit dbacks.com/events.
Remember, you got to buy the special ticket package to get the zombie survival kit. Good ball game going here, 3-3. New pitcher for the Diamondbacks. It's the right-hander David Hernandez. D-backs bullpen has been outstanding so far. Josh Colmenter. 3 2/3 innings of scoreless relief after Patrick Corbin retired only 4 batters. And Andrew Chafin, 2 scoreless innings. So here's Hernandez to start the game. Ryan Zimmerman, an RBI single in that 3-run Nats first. He's 1 for 3. Doesn't get the call there from Mark Carlson, and David is behind 3-0. Chafin walked his leadoff man, Escobar, in the last inning. Now Hernandez behind 3-0 on Zimmerman to lead off the 8th. All four. 4-pitch walk to the leadoff man. Tie game, 8th inning. Let's take a look at our State Farm report of the game. The Socratic method, Socrates Brito, who they think is really going to be a player at the major league level. 3 for 4 for the Mobile Bay Bears yesterday. Drove in 3 runs for Robbie Hammock, and over his last 8 games, he's hitting over 400. A couple of home runs. I bet managers in 3-3 games in the 8th inning love leadoff walks.
Oh, jeez. I mean, there really is no upside, but if you had to really search for a silver lining, it's the fact it's Ryan Zimmerman. He does not run well at all. You don't have to worry about him trying to steal a base or anything like that.
Worth had an RBI fielder's choice his first time up. He's 0 for 3. And 4 for 25 since he was activated from the DL a week ago tonight. Missed nearly 3 months with some broken bones in his left wrist. He was out more than 60 games. There's a strike, 1-1. Jason Worth, the Chia Pet, coming up here soon at the ballpark. And it's easy to understand why. That'll be August 5th. He's kind of like a 6'5" Chia Pet with all that stuff.
Well, they show one on the big board here when they promo Jason Worth Chia Pet night, and kind of show you, everybody's seen a Chia Pet. You rub the seeds on there, you pour some water in the thing, and it sprouts out all over the place. The only difference is it's green on the Chia Pet. Seen a Chia Pet, you rub the seeds on there, you pour some water in the thing, and it sprouts out all over the place. The only difference is it's green on the Chia Pet.
Well, Hernandez, who walks Zimmerman to lead off the inning, is now behind on Worth 3-1. Chia Pet, the Jason Worth Chia Pet, August 5th. Chia. 8 pitches for Hernandez, only 1 strike. That's out of play. I'm waiting for Sea Monkey night. Remember Sea Monkeys? Sure. They used to advertise the Sea Monkeys in the same part of the comic book that you'd advertise the Chia Pet. You get the Chia beard on the Jason Worth Chia Pet. Three and 2. Base hit. That's headed for the wall. Peralta plays it off the wall. They're going to stop Zimmerman at third, and it's a double for Worth. Second and third, nobody out.
Consistently fall behind in counts, get the full counts, predictable fastball counts. Guys are going to catch up to it, and that time Jason Worth ripped that ball down into the left field corner.
Chip Hill. Diamondbacks going to try and have to pull off some kind of a magic act right here. I've noticed that Chip has done this a lot more often lately, Bob. These mound visit pep talks or strategic meetings anyway. But Chip did not do this over the first half of the year. He's done it a lot lately.
I think he's just got something on his mind or something he wants to impart to his team, and rather than relay it out there with his pitching coach, Mike Harkey, he decides to go out and pass the message along himself. I mean, I would imagine part of the message right there was you've got a guy at the plate that's already struck out 3 times in this game.
Ian Desmond.
Yeah, you get a punch out here, you can possibly pitch around Ramos, walk him to load the bases and go after Michael Taylor. You can go after Ramos if you want to after the strikeout of Desmond, but it all starts with a strikeout of Desmond.
He is third in the National League in strikeouts. Good start, 0-1. So you're going for the strikeout here.
This is one situation, where you want your pitcher to throw pitches that get swings and misses. You don't want solid contact. You don't want soft contact. You don't want any contact right here.
Zimmerman is the runner at third and Worth at second. Nice block by Saltalamacchia back there. 1-1. No such thing, as you always say, as a bad block.
No such thing as a bad one. That one looked like he took the brunt of it off his right arm as he tried to slide out there and get in front of that ball.
1-1 pitch. And there, strike two.
Three straight sliders. Jump ahead in the count, 1-2. Got away with one there.
About half of league average in this situation for Ian Desmond. It's been that kind of year for him. Oliver Perez, the left-hander. Oh, Mark Carlson says no, 2-2. Missed at 96. Hey, Mark. Hey, Mark. Oh, man. That hurts. That was it right there. He had him.
Not playing their infield all the way in here. I mentioned Ryan Zimmerman, the runner at third, not the swiftest runner on this Nationals roster, so playing a little deeper than they might normally play.
2-2. That is foul. Nope, fair. Yep, fair ball. So they're not able to advance the runners. The ground out to first is the first out here in the eighth.
Zimmerman, not only a slow runner, but a very cautious runner down there at third with nobody out in the inning. Just took a couple of shuffle steps off the bag and then held his ground as Goldie got the out at first base.
Wilson Ramos, he has walked and singled, 1 for 2. 6 for his last 59 at the plate coming into the ball game tonight. There's the strike at 1-1. Game 3 tomorrow. Diamondback Live pregame show at 3:30. Ruby De La Rosa and Gio Gonzalez. About 50% better in these situations than Ian Desmond. Zimmerman at third, Worth at second. Reaches out and pokes it foul, and Hernandez is ahead, 1-2.
Good location on this breaking pitch. Just off that outside corner, gets that defensive swing. Almost in the hole, 1-2.
Try and get him a little more defensive right here. 20 pitches, 10 strikes. 1-2 pitch. Base hit. Zimmerman scores. They will wave Worth. Inciarte picks it up. The throw's offline. And Ramos is in at second. It's 5-3 Nationals. It died out there in short right for a 2-run base hit.
Caught too much plate with that slider. He didn't hit it worth a darn. Just a little floater out there in shallow right field. Inciarte had a shot at Jason Worth at the plate, just overthrew that ball way up the third baseline, and that allowed Ramos to move into scoring position as well.
2-run double for Ramos. Michael Taylor. He scored a single. He takes second on the throw. So a 2-run single for Ramos. Taylor single in the first. He's 1 for 3. Got him. 2 down.
That's a breaking ball he wanted to throw to Ramos on that base hit into right field, but unfortunately for David and the D-backs just kind of fluttered up there in the middle of the strike zone and then slowly started to work its way away from the right-handed hitter.
Papelbon warming up for the Nationals. Pitcher spot is due up here. The left-hand hitting Clint Robinson steps up. He'll hit for the pitcher. And with Oliver Perez ready in the bullpen, Chip Hale will counter with his lefty. Diamondbacks down 5-3. Back in a moment.
Backed by popular demand, the Arizona
Pepsi Limon made with just a hint of real lime juice, a little bit of lime and a whole lot of flavor. Pick up yours today. Brand new Pepsi Limon now available at your local retailer. Well, Matt Williams brought up a left-hand pinch hitter, Clint Robinson. Chip Hale has countered. He's gone to his lefty reliever, Oliver Perez, on for the 47th time this year. Robinson has been recalled, and Tyler Moore, the right-hand hitter, will take the at-bat for the pitcher. Matt Williams and Mark Carlson. Moore is only 4 for 37 as a pinch hitter this year. He's got 1 home run. Two runs in, 2 outs. Ramos at second. Perez and Moore. Moore in there at 210 with 4 homers. He struck out as a pinch hitter last night. Diamondbacks in the top of the 9th inning. Remember, they got to Jonathan Papelbon in that 9th last night. We'll have Lamb, Saltalamacchia, and the pitcher's spot 5, 6, and 7. In fact, it was Jake Lamb who homered off Jonathan Papelbon in that 9th inning last night. He'll lead it off. First 2 in this inning reached against David Hernandez. They have both scored. And Ramos at second after the 2-run double. 1 and 2 now on Moore.
You know, Tyler Moore is a minor leaguer in the national system. In 2010 and 2011 had a total of 202 RBIs over those 2 seasons. Tied with Paul Goldschmidt.
Tyler Moore played at Mississippi State. He's a Bulldog. 16th round pick by the Nats in 08. Blows it right by him. They strand Ramos, but Ramos gets the big hit, a 2-run single. And it's 5-3 Nationals. Here comes Papelbon. D-backs take it to the 9th. Last night, led by Jake Lamb, who hit his 4th of the year. He took him the other way into the Diamondback bullpen. It's our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game. And the Diamondbacks looking for more of the same here, with Papelbon on now for the 2nd night in a row. And Lamb will lead off the 9th. Diamondbacks have seen their last 14 batters retired by Nationals pitchers. D-backs have not had a base runner since Nick Ahmed's walk back in the 4th inning. And their last hit was Chris Owings' 2-run double that tied the game at 3 right before that. Papelbon a perfect 18 for 18 in his save opportunities. Acquired from the Phillies just before the deadline. Lamb, Saltalamacchia the pitcher spot 5, 6, and 7 in the Arizona 9th. Ball 1. Jake Singleton scored in the 4th. He's 1 for 3. Jake Lamb has really looked like his old self lately. 7 games on the road trip, 6 of them starts coming into tonight, hitting over 330. 2 doubles, 2 homers, 5 RBIs. It's been a good trip for him. He's down 1 and 2.
Got headlines back in Seattle on the sports page for his big sac fly, game-winning sac fly.
A homecoming kid. Jake counting tonight 13 hits in his last 10 games. Applebaum does not get the inside strike from Mark Carlson. He kind of hides that ball behind his hip when he comes set. He's at a little bit of an angle there, and he'll sort of tuck that baseball right behind his right hip. Right there. Just inside again. It's full 3-2. Diamondbacks will certainly take a leadoff walk.
Kind of the equivalent of a closed stance for a hitter. The left foot closer to that foul line on the third base side. Really does a nice job of hiding the baseball.
3-2 pitch.
Just got a piece of that split finger. Over part of the plate, staying alive. Applebaum's a big-time strike thrower. You saw the numbers when he came into the ballgame. Only 8 walks all season, over 40 innings of work. He's going to attack that strike zone, that fastball, curveball, splitter combination.
Keeping the AB going here. Base hit for Lamb. That's in the gap. He's aboard to lead it off. His second hit tonight. He's now had 6 multi-hit games in his last 9 starts. Jake Lamb, a leadoff single.
What a great at bat. Fouled off some tough pitches, and that's really what it amounts to. When you get to 2 strikes, if you can foul off the tough ones, you give that pitcher an opportunity to make a mistake on the next pitch. That time Applebaum left a fastball up over the middle of the plate, and Jake ripped it toward that gap in right center.
Well, here's Salty, who had the RBI single and scored a run in the 4th. This is the part of the Diamondback order that did all the damage in that 3-run 4th against Max Scherzer. Peralta walked, Lamb singled, Salty singled, Owings had a 2-run double. Pitcher spot is due up next. Beef mode on deck. The top 4 hitters for Chip Hale tonight have combined for 1 hit. The Ender Inciarte bunt single to lead off the ball game, and the Peralta 1-out walk in the 4th. 1 for 15. Salty down 0-2.
That's kind of been a trend recently. The guys at the top seems like when they go bad, they all go bad at the same time.
Yeah, that was the case Sunday in Houston, when the top 3 went hitless with 5 strikeouts.
Ramos looking to pick down there at first base, just lost a handle on the ball as he tried to make the exchange right there. Ball popped straight up in the air and behind him.
A ball and 2 strikes. Fly ball center field. Michael Taylor right in that corner out there on the warning track. Lamb tags up and heads for second, and he is in there. Risky play when you're down by 2, but Lamb picks up 90 feet.
Once again, that's a play that's right in front of you as a base runner. If you have any doubt whether you can make it safely to second base, you better slam on the brakes and go back to first. But Jake continues into second base safely with an ugly looking slide.
Well, on the menu now in the ninth, some beef Wellington. He has homered 5 times in his last 6 games. Wellington Castillo, 246 and 12 homers. 10 of those home runs have come with the Diamondbacks, including a solo shot last night. Oh, this was beef Wellington. He and Peralta back-to-back in the 4th last night against Doug Fister.
I was just thinking back to the beginning of this ball game. I think if Jared Saltalamacchia hits that same ball in the 1st inning, it goes out of the ballpark. It's noticeably cooler now than it was at the beginning of the ball game.
A little roller to Desmond at shortstop. Lamb moves up 2 down. Well, you're right. It was humid here earlier today. We had some weather in the area, but definitely much cooler now. Well, Nick Ahmed, who homered last night, 4 for 4, is the last man standing. Lamb at 3rd, 2 down. Nick walked in the 4th. He's 0 for 2. One and 2 now. This was a hot topic all day long here in D.C. A must-win game in the minds of many here in Washington for the Nationals and Matt Williams. They lost the series opener. They've lost 4 in a row. They've lost their NL East lead, and they had the race on the mound tonight. 1 and 2. Escobar at 3rd. And he throws it away. Lamb scores. The Diamondbacks are still alive here, and the tying run is in scoring position. That's a big E5 for Escobar, and we're going to keep playing.
Talk about an interesting turn of events here. Relatively easy play. Escobar just winds up and pulls Ryan Zimmerman way off the bag to the outfield side right there. Had time to grip the ball, just got underneath it. It sailed on him.
Well, now how big is that tag by Jake Lamb? Moved up to 2nd on the fly ball, moved to 3rd on the ground out, and scores on the Escobar error. Ahmed, the tying run at 2nd, 2 down for Pennington. Nationals neck and neck with the New York Mets atop the National League East. Mets have won at Miami tonight, 5-1. One and 2. Been a crazy ball game. All the offense early, almost nothing in the middle, and a whole lot more offense at the end for both teams. Nick Ahmed the tying run at second. 2 outs, 1-2 on Cliff Pennington. Papelbon snares it. They'll put the tag on Pennington, and that's the ball game. The Diamondbacks lose it 5-4. And the Nationals keep pace with the Mets. A game back in the NL East. They snap their 4-game losing streak. And the D-backs fall to 5-3 on this road trip with 2 more still to go. Your Arizona Federal Credit Union Power Player of the Game. Not exactly a power shot from Wilson Ramos, but a 2-run single in the 8th that proved to be the difference.
A couple hits in the game for Ramos. Also a walk back in that first inning, and got his starting pitcher